this day. It is Thursday, April 15th. We have one meeting to tell you about today, and that'll be the United Governing Documents Review, and that'll be at 1:30 this afternoon, and you can follow along at lagunawoodsvillage.com/meetings. Now, on our show today, we have Kaiser Permanente. We have Dr. William Wu, who is here to tell us about diabetes and COVID-19. That's a very interesting correlation, so he kind of explains how that works. Then we also have Thrive in the Village with Paul Ortiz, so I sit down with him and we chit-chat about how it evolved and where it's going. All right, now we've got some very exciting vaccine information for you today. We are going to have another clinic right here in Laguna Woods Village. Now, Memorial Care and Laguna Woods Village has received Moderna vaccine, and that will happen April 24th at Clubhouse 7. Now, if you would like to participate and you have not gotten any vaccine already, you need to send an email ASAP to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Now, the response will come back with a link for you to sign up. It's a form, a vaccination form, and you need to fill that out completely and send it back. Like I said, this is an ASAP situation. They need to know by Friday who is participating. So they will be cutting that off by Friday. So you want to get your email in as soon as possible. Now, if you would like to choose to go to another area for a vaccination, you could always go to many of the areas, the pods that are still open. You would register at Athena.com, riteaid.com/COVID-19, CVS.com or 1-800-SHOP-CVS, or the El Toro Pharmacy 949-859-4440. Now, we have cleared our overcast this morning, so it's looking quite nice today, not as heavy as it was yesterday. We are looking at partly sunny skies today, 66-52, warming up tomorrow, 69-51. Then we're going to look at some nice sunshine, 76-61. Sunday and Monday, lots of sunshine all day long, 84-58 and 82-57. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:20, and our sunset will be at 7:22. And Lori, I always love all these beautiful flowers you send in. Thank you so much. This is a gorgeous picture from your yard, so thank you for sending that in. If you have a photo you'd like to share with the community, please email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. All right, stay tuned. We're going to learn all about diabetes and COVID-19 with Dr. William Wu. Stay tuned.
Why do I love being a doctor at Kaiser Permanente?
My only job is to take great care of my patients. I'm empowered to do what's right for you.
Our digital records mean your medical history is in one place, so I can give you great care.
Your primary care doctor, your specialist. It's great. We all work together as one team.
Our integrated approach to healthcare helps my patients live longer, healthier lives.
I don't just practice here, I'm a patient too. I wouldn't trust my family's healthcare to anyone else.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. William Wu, who is here on behalf of Kaiser Permanente, Orange County. Well, Dr. Wu, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, I know we've had you in studio before, and like we were talking off camera, we hope that that's going to be sooner rather than later. But for now, thank goodness we have this means. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to do anything. So it's sort of a blessing in disguise.
Looking forward to the day when we can be back in studio. Love to talk to your audience live from there.
Perfect. So for the last year, there have been many challenges, needless to say. Although people who have diabetes have a little bit increased challenges, primarily because I believe that was one of the comorbidities that were discussed.
Absolutely. A lot's been going on in the COVID environment with diabetes, as with every other condition. Healthcare has been difficult to navigate at some points with shutdowns of elective surgeries and everything like that. Diabetes was not immune to the effects of COVID-19. we've seen three main themes having to do with diabetes throughout the COVID pandemic. So first, as you mentioned, there is a risk of increase for severe COVID-19 infections in diabetic patients. Second, we saw a lot of development of diabetes, specifically in many of the patients that have had COVID. And finally, in terms of control rates for diabetes nationwide. So, diving into that, I think early on we realized that we were looking at the population of patients that got hospitalized for COVID. So these are folks with severe COVID infections, and we were trying to find commonalities. Why did they get sick and their neighbor didn't get as sick? And it turns out that 25% of the patients that were hospitalized early on in the pandemic had diabetes. That prompted places like the CDC and the World Health Organization to say, whoa, if you have diabetes, you may have an increased risk of getting a severe infection or being hospitalized with COVID-19. And we're still not 100% sure why this is. We think it has something to do with baseline inflammation that happens with diabetes, or perhaps it's decrease in immune system efficiency and functioning with diabetes. Regardless, we're still seeing those patients with diabetes have an increased risk of getting severe infection. Second thing I had noted was that we're seeing many, many more diabetic patients now. So people that did not have diabetes, got COVID, ended up in the hospital, and when they leave the hospital, they leave with diabetes. In fact, we found that 14% of hospitalized patients that did not have diabetes end up subsequently developing diabetes. So another complication that we're still learning about and trying to figure out if there's anything we can do to mitigate that. Finally, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's so unusual because I mean, gosh, is that something you've never heard of? Is that someone gets an ailment, some sort of an ailment, and then all of a sudden they have diabetes? I mean, like you said, the inflammation, but is there anything other than that might be related?
Sure, and they're still testing these things, but we do have some idea of why this might be going on. One, we know that with COVID infection and with other very severe diseases, your body has to put all of its energy into fighting this disease, and things like the endocrinological system, your ability to manage your sugars, your ability to do all of that is lessened, because all of those resources are taken to combat the COVID and to help you recover. A second piece of that, I would say, is actually some of the medications we use to save your life in COVID. I had the opportunity to run a COVID service in our hospital. And one of the key measures that came out throughout the pandemic that actually has been shown to save lives is use of steroid medication. Right. This is a medication like prednisone or solumedrol, very common across the nation now. It's part of why we're seeing death rates decrease from COVID-19 in the hospital. But those medications are actually known to increase your blood sugar. So let's say you're pre-diabetic beforehand, you put your body through all of the stress, we increase your blood sugars with the medications, which need to be done, right? We want to save your life. We don't want you to ending up on a ventilator or something like that. Right. But as a consequence, we're seeing more diabetes on the back end.
So now, but this is not necessarily diabetes that they will have for life, though, is it?
Well, in that 14%, it is. Okay. Now, we're going to work very aggressively to keep that controlled so it doesn't affect your life in a significant manner. And yes, you probably have to live healthier, eat healthier, get more exercise when you're back on your feet. So it's something that can be controlled and managed, as opposed to an acute COVID, severe pneumonia where it's life or death. So I think taking the lesser of the two evils here is surviving. And yes, you'll have an increased risk of COVID on the back, of diabetes on the back end. But that is something we can manage. And if we do a good job at it, it may not impact your life significantly.
Wow. Well, that's interesting information. I had not heard of that. And of course, you're just now over time sort of realizing this. And this is what they're finding across the world. Is that correct?
That's right. The initial data that we saw came from China, but quickly we started getting data from the European countries, from the United States, and we're still learning more about this. Many, many studies are being conducted to help us understand exact mechanisms of what's going on, continuing to evolve our treatments, and that's what's really happened. We've had this rapid learning with COVID. Patients are now surviving more than before, less people being admitted to the ICU on ventilators. So I think we're going to continue to learn, and hopefully with the rollout of vaccines and the precautions that everyone's been doing, like you said, hopefully my colleagues and I can be back in studio with you next month.
You know, you touched on a couple of the things that you're doing during this vulnerable time. So for instance, obviously, most people here are doing their social distancing and the masks and all of those things. And the medical offices, who I've talked to a number of different people, talk about, you know, they're following CDC. I think we're safer in the hospital now than ever before because of all the protocols that go into place. But then here's an interesting thing that you have here about the increase in virtual care, which we know sort of very early on that was something that had to happen. So how has Kaiser Permanente sort of evolved using that?
Absolutely. So like you said, our number one priority is the safety and well-being of our patients. We cannot have our patients come in and get sick when they're here seeing us. So one avenue which we've greatly increased by necessity and by patient demand, of course, is virtual care. You know, being able to interact and get your healthcare from your physician, not only the, hey, I fell and hurt my elbow kind of thing, but also the chronic disease management, things that you have to do on an ongoing basis, like diabetes, like blood pressure. We need to be able to do this in an effective manner. So we've greatly increased our ability and capacity to provide safe, quality care through telephone visits, through video visits. We've increased our capacity to do online education. Before we had a robust educational program for our diabetics. We had them come into auditoriums, have programs with nutritionists, dietitians. We're still providing all of that. We actually moved to a lot of the technology that universities will use to educate students remotely. We use the same platforms so we can help educate and facilitate better health for our members. We have all of our, not just doctors, but ancillary staff on virtual care as well. So, for example, we have diabetic care managers. These are certified diabetic educators that will connect with our patients, help them monitor their blood sugars, adjust medications, give them advice and tips on how to live healthier so they can live longer lives free of comorbidities from diabetes. I would say a couple extra pieces of technology that have really proliferated during COVID-19 include our remote glucose monitoring. So I know a lot of our diabetic patients, they have these little machines where they're checking their blood sugars constantly. They used to come into our doctor's offices and we download those meters and get the blood sugars and assist our members in adjusting their medications appropriately. Well, now we're doing that all remotely. It can be done through your smartphone and it will transmit all those numbers to your doctor and care managers. So now we can keep you safe over the phone or through video without you having to even leave your home and be exposed to anything. So whatever we can do to keep our members safe and healthy, we're moving towards it.
Well, and it's also an efficiency thing too, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it's sort of a catch-22. You know, I'd love to have you here in the studio, but of course that's not going to happen. However, in the future, let's say you didn't have an hour to devote to come here to the studio, but you had 15 minutes. Well, you run to your office, you have the Zoom with me for 15 minutes, and you run back to what you were going to do. So in that case, here you have patients who can do their blood sugar check, they can send the information, and they're done, right? So, I mean, it's an efficient thing.
Bottom line, we need to meet our patients where they're at. You know, like you say, if they're busy, if we're busy, we need to find a way to connect efficiently and using high quality measures to keep their diabetes and health under control.
Of course, it doesn't replace the in-person human touch type thing, which I think we're really clamoring for these days. So absolutely. You never know, you'll be getting a lot more in office visits. You never know.
And it has to happen, especially for chronic diseases like diabetes. There's some certain screenings we must do to ensure your health. For example, eye screening. Diabetic patients are at higher risk for eye damage due to diabetes. So in all of our offices in Orange County, we have a camera that will take a digital photo of your retina And we actually have an eye specialist review those and look for any signs of diabetic damage. We do this on a every 1 to 2 year basis. We're checking people's feet. We make sure that they still have sensation, good circulation, no wounds that need to be addressed. And we do that frequently. So yes, I believe there is going to be a role to come back into their offices and work with your doctors. So I would say a few things to that. One, if your doctor's office calls you and says, hey, look, we really need you to come in. It's important for your health. Please know that your doctors are thinking about your health. They have instituted all of the precautions that you had mentioned earlier, everything from social distancing, masking, hand sanitizer all over the place, temperature checking, symptom screening, isolating. I'll tell you, my waiting room, we removed a great portion of the chairs. You cannot sit within 6 feet of someone else. We don't want anyone getting sick in our offices. All of our staff have the appropriate PPE on, so patients will be safe. If we call you to come in, please come in. We'll make sure that and ensure your safety. After your vaccine, hopefully many of your viewers are getting vaccinated, especially our diabetic patients. Again, because they're at higher risk for severe infection, the CDC went ahead and made diabetics a priority category for getting vaccinated. So hopefully many of your viewers that are diabetics have already done so. Once you're vaccinated, check in with your doctor. See if you do need to come in at this point, now that you have even added security and safety from the COVID vaccine.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the information. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll have you in here in the studio soon.
Oh, thank you. Well, I know we're pressed for time, but could I mention one additional resource I really love for members?
Of course.
Oh, awesome. One thing that we have at Kaiser Permanente, and I have seen proliferate in the community recently, has been wellness coaches. And a lot of times that's over the phone. You can get wellness coaching, because we all know during the pandemic, a lot of us had decreased physical activity, not going out to get the same exercise. The gyms have been closed. Maybe our eating habits haven't been the same because we're using new things like Uber Eats, or we've stocked up our home with quite a bit of food and supplies, and maybe they're not the healthiest. I think this is a great opportunity for wellness coaches to get in there and kind of help you to prioritize what's healthy for you, help you get a little bit more of that physical activity in a safe way, help you make better food choices. Yeah. I'd mentioned that at Kaiser Permanente, it's free for our members. I know other insurance companies have engaged with various services as well. In fact, for our members, our services are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and they need only call our toll-free number. Do you mind if I give it to your viewers?
Oh, go right ahead.
Excellent. So for our KP members, that's 866-862-4295. And you can get set up with your own wellness coach for free.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you. I love all the information, and the residents will be very happy to know all of it. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.
Jackie, I'm looking at your MRI. Your shoulder seems to be healing nicely.
Well, Dr. Farrell, it feels really good.
That's good.
And I'm sorry. Baby, don't touch that. I don't want you to play with it.
Twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. I'm so glad that your shoulder's feeling better, but how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Schedule a video visit with your doctor and get quality care with no copay. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Paul Ortiz, who is the general manager of Village Television. But today he is here on behalf of Thrive. Well, Paul, I don't think we ever get to sit in this situation, so this is great.
Yeah, it's good to be on the set and talk a little bit about something else in Village Television. Thrive has been a process that we've been through for a long time now. It actually started with Humans in New York. That was a book that was pretty popular in 2010. Mm-hmm. And a lot of residents in the community thought, well, wow, we could do something like that here in Laguna Woods. And about 3 to 4 years later, we started Thrive, and this Thrive, at first it was a committee, mm-hmm. and then it became kind of a task force, and now we're kind of just the Thrive project. So we work on different things. The centenarian program was something we produced about 2 years ago.
Right.
And that was very popular. We got to meet a lot of different people. And luckily we have the support of the video club to put those kind of programs together. And that got us some traction and got some, feel good things, because that's really what Thrive is about. It's trying to get people, there's so much negativity, right, in social media and television, that we all thought, like, let's bring something positive, and let's focus on people in our community that are really prospering during, their time here in Laguna Woods Village. And that's really the main objective of Thrive the last couple of years, and the centenarian program was a great example of that.
And now I also interview other people who are part of Thrive, like Beth Perrick, who I interviewed last time. And you have kind of a campaign. Kindness was one, and then now we're going to go into kindness and resilience. I think because of COVID-19, there's been a lot of great stories that have come out of that.
Right, and that's kind of this process. So we had a lot of, like I said, traction with the centenarian program, and then we had some, projects we wanted to work on, and then the COVID hit, and that kind of like set us back again. But now we're really ramping up that we can talk about kindness and resilience and stamina and some of the things that we're able to, work with the recreation department. As the community starts to open, that's going to be our entry to really getting the message out that we want to the community. So, hopefully once we have Woodstock and some of the baby boomer events and some of the health expos out in the community, we'll have a little table or a little booth set up with some of our stuff and kind of talk to people about how they can be a part of Thrive. We're always looking for residents that are having a story. Cindy Whitney is on our task force as well, and she does a great job of interviewing guests. So we get to hear their story about, what have they been doing to really, get through this COVID, and really what are they doing to thrive each day, not just playing golf, but, maybe helping, your neighbor or traveling somewhere and getting food for somebody.
Yeah,
those are the stories we're looking for.
So there was a situation where we were actually looking for volunteers to help people who were maybe stuck at their home to be able to get the vaccination. So, and a lot of people did come forward to help those people, and that way we were able to visit them personally to give them the vaccine. So that's probably one of those stories.
Yeah, those are exactly the kind of stories that we're looking for, and we're hoping to continue with not only the members in our task force, but obviously as the word gets out, we'll be able to, kind of encourage other people to, participate. Participating is the big key, when we're trying to put a campaign together.
Right.
The video club is also doing some wonderful PSAs. Tom just gave me 5 new ones yesterday. So you'll be seeing that on the cable networks and on Village Television, and it's mostly encouragement and quotes. I had done a video for Thrives about a year or so ago, and it showed all of California. I just wanted to give people, a different perspective. Everybody's kind of stuck at home, especially back in March and April of last year. And so we put a bunch of quotes that had Thrive within the quotes, and that was kind of, that actually received a nice response from the community. And now the video club, and Tom Nash especially, is producing little PSAs like that. And then of course we have our Thrive program, and that airs every Thursday at 9:30. And Scott Marvel has been our producer since the very beginning. And his shows just get better and better and better. And unfortunately with COVID, we've had to show a lot of reruns just because, we're not making contact with people yet. But that just tells you how good a job Scott Marvel did with these programs, because they're really evergreen, because they can last forever, because he's just telling stories about the Aquadettes or traveling or another resident or friendship that they have. And that show does air every Thursday at 9:30 here on Village Television, and it's well watched, and we're proud to have it.
Well, it sounds great, and I'm sure you guys have a lot going on for the rest of the year, and we look forward to seeing more of that.
Absolutely. You'll see more PSAs on Village Television and throughout the cable networks. And then as soon as we heard Jeff Parker say recently, as soon as some of the facilities start to open up, we'll slowly start to ramp up our campaigns, and we'll be sure to get that information out to our community, and hopefully they'll be able to help us out as well.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And remember that the Thrive campaign for this year is kindness and resilience. We'll be right back.
With 2020 behind us, now is the perfect time to take care of all the things you might not have been able to. Caliber Collision is just up the street from you, and we offer a lifetime warranty on all body and repair work for as long as you own your vehicle. And we offer free pickup and delivery for all our Laguna Woods customers. On or off the road, safety is very important to us, which is why we are following all COVID-19 guidelines. Caliber Collision, restoring the rhythm of your life.
Movie preview for you for tomorrow's movie and Saturday's movie. We have Good Morning Vietnam, and that is a great flick and an oldie but a goodie, and that we'll be able to see on Friday 2 and 7, and that is brought to you by Kaiser Permanente. And then on Saturday we have Fargo, another classic, and that you can see on Saturday at 3 and 6. And it is sponsored by Hogue. Okay, as you saw earlier in our program today, the Thrive Project celebrates kindness and resilience. And if you would like to know more about Thrive, or if you have a story of kindness and resilience, they would ask that you send that information to thriveinthevillage@yahoo.com. Now, if you are interested in learning more about the Laguna Hills Mall project, you will want to be at the meeting on April 27th at 7 p.m. at the Laguna Hills Community Center. And if you want more information about that, you will want to contact the city of Laguna Hills. All right, let's take a look at our weather one last time. Of course, the fog has burned off and it's starting to show some signs of beautiful sunshine outside. We are looking at partly sunny skies today, 66-52. Tomorrow the same, 69-51. Starting to warm up on Saturday, 76-61, and then beautiful on Sunday and Monday, 84-58 and 82-57. Have a great day in the village. We'll be back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Recreation. They've got some great information for us and how they're going to start opening up some activities for everyone. So come on back tomorrow at 9. Otherwise, have a great day today, and you can rewatch our program at 12:30 and 5. Bye-bye.
I'm Dr. Leif Loberg, and I'd like to welcome you to Loberg Dental Center. We've kept everyone safe in our office and continue to do so. All of our safety measures include enough social distancing, masks, protective gear, and sterilization before and after every patient is seen in our operatory. Here at Loberg Dental Center, we've kept everything safe for your comfort. So call today, don't delay, and schedule your appointment, and we will take great care of you in the safety and comfort of our office.
We consider hearing to be an essential part of your life. During this time of quarantine and isolation, you need to be hearing the best you can to understand how to stay safe and to hear your friends and family. Advanced Ear Care is offering service to everyone that needs help with their hearing aids, no matter where it was you purchased. If it's not working properly, please call for a free troubleshooting appointment. We even have hands-free, no-contact curbside service. There's no charge for this service. Advanced Ear Care is here to keep you hearing during these critical days.